All right, we come to you from a beautiful home all the time on Lifestyle Indy.
Yep, here at Westport Homes.
Yes, but this time we're going to go to a historic home.
But the Benjamin Harrison site, downtown Indianapolis, there are things in there that he sat on, he used. It's very, very cool. We're going to take you inside.
They tell me you've been to the gift shop.
They have a gift shop, and inside there, Paul, they've got replicas of presidential china from all of the presidents, and you can purchase them. I think it's cool to see what the first ladies have picked out over the years.
All the president's china.
Yes.
Something like that. Let's take a look.
Oh, what's the matter with Harrison? He's all right. There can be no comparison. He's all right. Ben's a man who bravely went for his native...
It is 1888, and the man who once was one of the country's premier attorneys is now its preeminent Republican, heading his party's ticket for president. Benjamin Harrison's nomination is no surprise, but it is a compromise.
With me today at the Benjamin Harrison presidential site is President and CEO Charlie Hyde. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mel.
Tell us which room we're in right now.
Well, right now we're in the library, so President Benjamin Harrison's library. So the house itself was built in 1874. Harrison was elected in 1888, and he served a full 4 years in office. So he returned to Indianapolis in 1893 and lived here until his death in 1901.
And what kind of contributions did Benjamin Harrison make to Indiana?
You know, it's interesting. So Benjamin Harrison is the only president elected from the state of Indiana. And as such, I think there's a great legacy for us to be able to share. It's one of the things that makes working here great, just being able to share a lot of these really compelling stories that are underknown. And so looking at that legacy as president of the United States and certainly his contributions to Indiana, he was known as one of Indiana's foremost citizens. But as president, he advocated for conservation. So he actually called for and signed the Forest Reserve Act, creating the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th national parks and really creating that national park like forest system during his term of office. He also called for and signed the Sherman Antitrust Act, and he was also a great advocate for African American voting rights. And
his legacy continues to live here in this building. We're located on Pennsylvania, just north of the interstate here.
So right between Pennsylvania and Delaware Street at 12th and Delaware.
And I imagine people have driven by this building thousands of times if they ever come downtown, but they're invited in as well.
Well, it's interesting because we're right here in the heart of downtown Indianapolis, and much like Harrison, I think we're underknown. So a lot of people on their commute, you know, north of Indianapolis or through the city, we know that we have 170,000 cars that come through on 6570 a day. There are 20,000 cars that drive north on Delaware Street every day. And people forget what's inside of this museum, and it's a great cultural asset. So we're locally relevant but nationally significant.
Well, it's a gorgeous mansion, absolutely gorgeous.
Well, and we're able to welcome over 17,000 school children through the museum each year. And so it's a great cultural treasure and does a lot to help educate our youngest citizens about the nature of their country, what it means to be a good citizen, and again, sharing that Harrison legacy that's worth sharing.
So if someone comes into the mansion, what are some of the things that they can see and experience?
Well, we are open 7 days a week, and so there are tours every day. There's more information on our website at presidentbenjaminharrison.org. But they're able to tour through. It's a guided tour, 75 to 90 minutes, and it really shares the collection. We have over 10,000 artifacts in this 10,000 square foot space. And through the course of the tour, they're able to see many of these things that the Harrisons surrounded themselves. Quite a few items that were in the White House during their administration. And so really getting that inside look at an American presidency. And again, it's just phenomenal looking at the quality of our collection. Over 75 to 80% of what we have in our collection that's available during your tour is original to the Harrisons themselves.
Really?
So that's an extraordinary number for any kind of museum, let alone for a museum committed to the presidency.
As President of the United States, I was present at the first Pan-American Congress in Washington, D.C. Believe that with God's help, our two countries shall continue to live side by side in peace and prosperity. Benjamin Harrison.
And what are some of the architectural details that people should look for when they're touring the home?
Well, it's a gorgeous house inside and out. So it's an Italianate, 3-story brick house. There are over 380,000 bricks that were used to build the house itself. As you tour through the museum and through the individual rooms, you can see things like here in the library, recreated wallpaper. It was actually, we partnered with contemporary artist Walter Kanabe to recreate the wallpaper that's in this room.
Wow.
So we found original wallpaper behind a bookcase, an enormous bookcase, that was given to Harrison in payment of a legal debt by a German cabinet maker. So Harrison had won an immigration case for this German cabinet maker, and this enormous, beautiful carved bookshelf is how he thanked Harrison. But 100 years later, it actually had preserved the original wallpaper behind it because no one had ever wanted to move it because it was such an enormous bookcase. So it's just meticulously recreated and complementing, with these amazing artifacts. It just really enriches that experience and gives you a very authentic sense of what an American president in the 19th century might have experienced.
Well, and there's so many different details too. I mean, everything from the molding to the doorknobs. And if you're in the library that we're in, there's a pretty significant table in here too. Tell us about this desk.
Well, so the desk itself, Harrison had with him at the White House, and it was kind of his work desk. And so much like a number of other artifacts that we have in the museum, including in special exhibits and elsewhere, these are original White House artifacts. And at the time, it was okay for the president to take things that had been given to them back with them post-presidency. And so Harrison, I think, brought the desk and then returned with the desk. Other things like Harrison's piano was given to them by their son, but Harrison, when he returned to Indianapolis, brought that back with him. There are other things like the horn chair that was an inaugural gift that is made out of Texas longhorns, has gold plaques all over it, has Benjamin Harrison's name spelled out in diamonds on the back. So you might call it like presidential bling. It's just like really over the top, beautiful, but in a very gaudy way. So able to share a lot of cool artifacts that, again, they give unique insight into the Harrisons and into that era.
Well, and if you want to take a piece of the mansion home with you, do you have a gift shop too?
We do have a gift shop and a number of original created products, t-shirts. We actually have several books that we've partnered on. There's Old Whiskers Escapes. There's a new biography of Benjamin Harrison that you can find in our gift shop. Just a lot of interesting material that you can find there too.
And if people want to learn about events that are coming up, I know you have a big croquet event, right?
That's right. So we've got Wicked World of Croquet. We have our annual speaker series. We have activities going on throughout the year. And again, the website is always the best place to find that at presidentbenjaminharrison.org.
Well, this is so exciting. Thank you so much for letting us come in today. And I haven't taken the full tour yet, but I imagine there's a ballroom on the top floor.
There is a ballroom on the top floor.
Ballroom on the top floor.
And we're actually able to use that for special exhibit space. So we have 2 special exhibits open this year. And so, again, more information on our website.
Wonderful. Charlie, thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you, Mel.
I'm Mel McMahon for LifeStyle Indy.